Hello everyone and welcome. I am the Kentucky Atheist, and today I want to talk about Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind is a young earth creationist who claims to believe that the Bible is scientifically accurate and contains no mistakes. Kent made his name through a series of seminars that he sold as educational material, much of which were used in homeschooling to indoctrinate thousands of children. He later went to prison for structuring, and after his 9-year bit in prison, he started Dinosaur Adventureland on a piece of property in Lenox, Alabama, where he runs his cult and supports pedophilia to this day. Kent has been arrested for domestic violence and has several other scandals to his name that you can Google if you like, or if you leave me a comment about what you would like to see below, I'll cover it in another video. But today I want to look at Kent's religious claims and his choice to lie about things that he's been told the truth about many times. Kent has been corrected by Professor Dave, Aaron Raw, and Gutsick Gibbon, to name a few, and you can find all their debates all over YouTube, but he continues to read the same script he always has without change. So let's debunk them again, because the truth does matter, and if this reaches one person that the others did not, then it was well worth my time. We're going to take a look at a few clips from Kent's first seminar, titled The Age of the Earth, as he still repeats this script word for word to this day.
If the evolution theory is true, how would you answer the four great questions of life? Who am I, and what am I worth? Well, if evolution is true, you're nothing important. You're just a piece of protoplasm that washed up on the beach. You're not worth a thing. Actually, you're part of the problem, you see, because you are one of the polluters of the environment. And the more of you we can get rid of, the better. See, that's normal thinking if evolution is true. Where did I come from? Well, if evolution is true, you came from a cosmic burp about 20 billion years ago. Why am I here? What's the purpose of life? Well, if evolution is true, there's no purpose to life, so you might as well have fun. If it feels good, do it. Where am I going when I die? Well, if evolution is true, you're going to the grave, and you're going to get recycled into a worm or a plant. But see, the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now, if that's true, that puts a whole different set of answers to those questions.
If the Bible is true, that also means slavery and genocide are moral and okay. Kent denies evolution and gives these four questions. Evolution is only an explanation of the progression of species over time through natural selection. It doesn't attempt to answer philosophical questions, but rather explains the processes that led to the complex life that we see today. That's all.
And right there is where the whole idea of evolution got started. It didn't start with Charlie Darwin. It started with Satan in the Garden of Eden. He wants you to think you can become a god. Yes, boys and girls, we started like an amoeba, and we're evolving. We're getting bigger and better and stronger and smarter, and someday we're going to sail around the universe and discover new life forms, like Star Trek.
Same as before, evolution only shows processes that led to the life we see. It doesn't promise to make you a god, or give you a role in Star Trek, or say anything else about the Bible. It's only about the progression of life through natural selection.
If somebody says, do you believe in evolution? I say, well, what do you mean? Well, you know, evolution. No, which one are you talking about? There are 6 meanings to the word.
Nope. Here's the definition of evolution, just so you know.
Are you talking about cosmic evolution, the origin of time, space, matter? I don't believe in that, with the Big Bang. We'll talk about that in a minute.
So here he just says that he doesn't believe in it, but let me point out the Big Bang is one explanation for our universe, but it doesn't explain the creation of anything. It's just the rapid expansion of space and time that we still observe today.
Are we talking about chemical evolution? Because according to the Big Bang theory, the Big Bang, produced hydrogen and maybe some helium. Well, then how did we get all these other elements? Do you want me to believe uranium evolved from hydrogen? They'll say, well, you have fusion in stars. Yeah, but you can't fuse past iron very well. Number 2, you got a chicken and an egg problem here, because you have to have the stars to make the elements and the elements to make the stars. Which one came first?
Chemical evolution. So the elements below iron are exothermic, meaning when fused in a star they create and release energy, and this keeps the star burning. When the star starts producing iron is the beginning of the end for the star, because it's no longer producing energy from fusion. This results in the star collapsing in on itself and is why stars go supernova. The elements heavier than iron are endothermic, meaning they require energy to be fused. When stars go supernova, there's a lot of excess energy released that is no longer needed to maintain the star and is used to fuse elements together, creating the ones heavier than iron. There are other methods for making heavier elements, but this one alone debunks him. Kent says there is a chicken and the egg problem with the elements and the stars of which one came first. The elements came first. About 3 minutes after the Big Bang, the universe cooled far enough that hydrogen atoms could form. Clouds of hydrogen gas condensed and formed the first stars. There you go, Kent. That was complicated, wasn't it? Let's move on.
Which brings up, of course, stellar evolution. How did the stars form? You know, nobody's ever seen a star form. Scientists don't even have a clue how a star could form. No even good theories about star formation. We cover more on that on video 7. But we see stars blow up all the time. It's called a nova or a supernova if it's a big one. That happens all the time. But we never see one form. And yet there's enough stars out there that we know about that everybody on planet Earth, every single individual, can personally own 11 trillion stars to yourself. Those are the ones we know about. We don't know about the ones that we don't know about.
Stellar and planetary evolution. He claims no one has ever seen a star form. We see stars in all different stages of formation everywhere, and it is well understood in cosmology how they form. Clouds of gas condense, and when they condense far enough, fusion occurs. Kent also employs the common tactic of use big numbers to confuse people. This is common by creationists, but let's just move on.
Fourthly, there's going to have to be organic evolution. Life has to get started from non-living material. Nobody has a clue how that could happen. Then we're going to have what's called macroevolution. That's where an animal changes to a different kind of animal. Did you know nobody has ever seen a dog produce a non-dog? Never. You may get a big dog or a little dog, but you're going to get a dog every time. And it could be that the dog, the wolf, and the coyote had a common ancestor. I wouldn't argue about that. They probably did. But every 5-year-old kid knows they're the same kind of animal. I'll show you. Is anybody in here 5 or 6? Who's 5 or 6 years old? Anybody? How about, we got one? Okay. How old are you, buddy? 6? I want you to take a test. Here we have a dog, a wolf, a coyote, and a banana. Which one is different than the rest of them? The banana. Give him a hand. All right. Very good. We have college professors can't figure that out, okay? Tell you what I want you to do. When we're done, I want you to go out to the table out in the hallway and you can pick out any free video or DVD you want, okay? We got a bunch of videos and DVDs about dinosaurs and stuff out there. The Bible says the animals are going to bring forth after their kind. Now, Charlie Darwin wrote a book on the table down here called Origin of Species. See, a dog and a wolf are the same kind of animal, but they're different species. He fooled everybody by changing the word from kind to species. We'll get into more of that on video 4. Lastly, we have what is called microevolution. This is changes within the kinds. Now, that one happens. I'll go along with number 6. I think animals can produce a whole variety of offspring. You know, long hair, long-legged, short-legged. That happens. But the first 5 are purely religious. That's not science. We never observe any of those. So if you want to win the debate on evolution, simply define exactly what you're talking about. And you'll find all they ever give are examples of number 6, which there's no argument about it. It happens. But then they imply that that is somehow magically evidence for the other 5, and it is not.
These last 3 are all part of biological evolution, but he splits them here to confuse. I think he's referring to abiogenesis when he describes organic evolution. And abiogenesis is just the most popular theory of how the first life was formed. But there are others just as likely, and none of them have us made of clay and brought to life in a blood magic ritual as the Bible does. Macroevolution shows the transition of life above the species level. For example, we see birds, but birds descended from dinosaurs. They didn't change into something else. Birds are in fact dinosaurs. And as they continue to change, you get many species of birds, which is microevolution. But really these are the same thing, just over a larger amount of time, and there are many transitional fossils in the record showing how these animals evolved in their current form. So this is just a flat denial of proven science. Evolution is a fact. And this has been proven to Kent over and over through the years, but he lies about it to make money. He includes the word cons and says that cons are a species, but then he contradicts himself. People have been trying to get Kent Hovind to give a definition for cons for decades, as it is not a scientific word, and he just won't. He dips and dodges and says people didn't come from rocks and stupid shit like that. He claims evolution is a religion, and we don't observe any of these things, but we not only have the evidence of evolution in the fossil record, but scientists have observed it in labs live. Ken loves to call evolution a religion because he thinks it bothers people, but this is just stupid. Evolution is defined as the belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods, according to the Oxford Dictionary. Evolution doesn't ask that you believe anything, because unlike religion, there's proof of it happening, and anyone that worships evolution and thinks Darwin is a god has a lot bigger problems. So let's move on.
By the way, if the world came from a big bang and slowly evolved over billions of years, why did Jesus die on the cross? What's the purpose of the death of Christ?
Well, Kent, there's no evidence that he did, so there is no purpose. That makes everything make perfect sense, doesn't it?
You know, we've been teaching kids they're nothing but an animal, and today a lot of them act like animals. Even Barbara Reynolds figured it out. She said, your kids go ape in school? Here's why. He's being taught evolution. Guess what, Johnny? You're an animal and share a common heritage with earthworms. You mean I'm just an animal? Okay. Have you ever stopped and thought that possibly what we're teaching the kids is maybe affecting how they behave? What you believe determines how you behave. Kids are taught today, you know, that you're just an animal.
Anyone who says we are just animals is understanding how amazing life is. We are not just an animal, but an animal that evolved from single-cell organisms to think and solve problems, to not just live in the world, but to study it and even go beyond it into space. We have the ability to learn how the world around us works and study what led to our existence. And when you look at it this way, saying God did it is actually downplaying the situation, because the real world is filled with so much more wonder and amazing things than the make-believe one asserted by believers. Kent does get one thing right, though. What you believe plays into how you behave, which is why we see so much violence from believers. Groups like the KKK and Al-Qaeda are exclusively religious. People are murdered every day because they believe a different fairy tale than someone else, and kids are indoctrinated into religions that there's not a shred of evidence for. These reasons are exactly why someone like Kent Hovind is dangerous, and why we need to focus our energy on teaching science and reasoning instead of the belief that all your problems can be solved by magic.
I was speaking in a public school in Pennsylvania a couple years ago, and this kid sat on the second row, and he said, Hovind, I'm an atheist. There's no God. I said, are you sure? He said, I'm sure. I said, well, let me ask you a question, son. I said, do you know everything? He said, oh, no. I said, okay, well, good. I said, do you think maybe you know half of everything? He said, no. I said, okay, well, let's just pretend for a few minutes that you know half of everything. Would it be possible then for God to exist in the other half you don't know? Brand new thought rattled around in his brain for a while. Got lost, I'm sure. I said, by the way, son, if you're an atheist, let me ask you a simple question. How do you tell right from wrong? Ask an atheist that question sometime. How do you tell right from wrong?
So the question of morals. Apologists love this because they believe the only way you could possibly have morals or care about your fellow man is that God put them there, which I think says more about them than it does me. Back before there were laws in cities, man discovered that it was beneficial to treat others in your group the way you wish to be treated, and that if they didn't steal from and murder others, they were less likely to have these things happen to them. This system worked so well that we eventually developed laws based on these ideals. My theory is that actually the believer has the moral problem. If you believe you can do what you want and say sorry to your imaginary friend and still be rewarded after someone else kills you, then why do you need morals or laws? My guess is this would lead one to the same conclusion. I just subtracted the imaginary friend because that was the only thing complicating the question. Isn't that really the case with all religion? It gives you simple answers to hard questions. But when you consider the implications of accepting those simple answers, you find that it really makes things more complicated instead of less. Throughout history, man has attributed many things to a god or gods, to fill the gaps in their knowledge, hence the God of the Gaps arguments. But it turns out many things, including evolution and the beginnings of the universe itself, can be explained without the need for a god. Well, that's all for today, guys. We covered almost half of Kent Hovinds' first seminar, The Age of the Earth. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. I want to thank everyone for watching. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, as I can promise God won't do it for you. I plan to keep up with making a couple videos a week, exploring all different claims made by religion, so click the bell icon as well, and you'll know when I upload more videos. If you wish to support the channel financially, consider joining me on Patreon. The link is in the description, where members will receive behind-the-scenes content, as well as early access to my videos and much more. Join me in the fight against the lies, indoctrination, and danger that religion poses to everyone, not just believers. Join me in educating people with science instead of fairy tales. I'm the Kentucky Atheist, and we can make a difference. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.